This is the European green toad. It likes low vegetation, loose and dry soil, lots of sun and warmth, and little wind. The green toad and all of these other animals are our neighbors, since their habitat is located right next to our site. We want to extend this habitat through our site along this already existing green path towards Danube River. Next, I would like to introduce you to the western jackdaw. This little fella prefers dense vegetation with lots of trees and high bushes, creating the right environment for him to nest. Like the western jackdaw, all these other animals prefer this kind of forest condition they find on the southeastern side of our site. So we detected these spots which have similar conditions where these flying animals could migrate over our site.
Last but not least, I would like to introduce you to a species you will most likely feel very familiar with: the human. The human nests in huge structures called houses. Like the green toad, the human likes a lot of sun and warmth. But unlike the other species' nests, the human's home is totally encapsulated from the outside. This is why it needs to bring in fresh air every once in a while, so the human appreciates the opportunity of cross-ventilation. Although the human spends most of its time inside, it still wants to have the possibility to have its own outside space as well. Since the human is very social, it is important that it also has the space to meet other human beings. This could be in shared spaces within its housing complex, in a cafe, or somewhere outside. Like many animals hunt for food, the human is always on the chase for money, which is why it works a lot. You might assume that it works in the same environment as it nests, but there are some differences when it comes to privacy, ventilation, and direct sunlight. This is the human network around our site. There's lots of residential buildings and recreational areas like playgrounds, parks, and urban gardening. We want to connect all of these spaces with a central plaza. When all of these stakeholder networks come together, we can see how busy this place really is. So we need to think of ways how all of these beings interact with each other. Many birds nest in the nearby trees and hunt for smaller animals in the low vegetation area. The human, on the other hand, likes to interact with the other species, mainly by observing the hustle and bustle and hearing the birds' songs.
This is our site at the moment. It is fully covered with concrete and railway infrastructure. We propose to clear the whole site of this unused infrastructure, except for this beautiful old building in the north. This will make it possible to have the migration routes and whereabouts for different stakeholders we mentioned earlier on our site area. Then we started by looking at the primary building structure in the neighborhood, which is the perimeter block development. To build a migration route for the birds, bats and butterflies, we broke this form apart at these opposite corners. Then we pushed the other edges down to let the sun in, to create another pathway for the grassland creatures and additional space for the birds. In order to protect the toads and lizards from the deadly cars of the street, we lowered the ground in the middle and established a barrier in form of an office building below ground level. As you can see, the main wind directions are northwest and southeast. The existing building and the new office block on the left side protect from northwestern winds, and the residential block on the right protects the center from southeastern winds. The last step was to round the corners. This brings more sunlight to the facades, but also the already existing buildings around. By pushing the edges down and rounding the corners, we could bring in over 3 hours of winter sun in every apartment. The middle zone is free for the animals and plants of the nearby low vegetation area, since the conditions are ideal for them to thrive. The corners of the site offer many trees as attractor points for the birds. From there, they can migrate over to the next corner. Or they might stay a little for a snack on the grassland. This floor plan shows the ground level and the connecting outdoor spaces. The neighborhood square is the central hub for all things human. From here, they can enter their apartments through the yellow spaces you can see here. There are also the bicycles, garbage disposal and mailboxes. The rest of the ground floor is free for non-residential areas, which is key to a lively neighborhood. These areas include a cafe, restaurant, market, offices, and a gardening shop for maintenance. This is a typical residential floor. The shape of the building makes it easy to include all sizes of apartments. From every apartment, there are 2 or more ways down. One could either take the elevator or walk down the beautiful green terraces. It's even possible to go to the neighboring building over a bridge. The bridges enable even more people to come together in the shared spaces by shortcutting 2 buildings which would otherwise stand alone. The shared rooms all have different functions, like a laundry room, a shared kitchen, or even a wellness area. These rooms, as well as the terraces, invite inhabitants to come together and explore and acquire the whole building. But the terraces are not only inhabited by humans, but other species as well. The terraces, as well as the whole roof, are orchards. Since the terraces are very much exposed to the sun and the stairs keep the wind off them, they offer great conditions for the grassland animals too. As you can see in these axonometric views, the direct sunlight on the facades are very different, but each apartment has one sunny and one shady side. The balconies are on the sunny side, and the arcade circulation is on the shaded one.
This section shows these different outside spaces with the circulation on the right side and the balconies on the left side. The section also shows how the existing building, the office underneath, and the housing units on top are connected. The upper volume rests on 2 outer concrete columns and 2 inner columns. The inner columns are outcrossed. The whole new building is made from wood in order to be lightweight and eco-friendly. The balcony, as well as the arcades, are lightweight steel construction. Let's have a look at the perpendicular section. Here we can see how the existing building is broken up and divided. The broken up part of the building on the left side is not accessible to humans. It's a place where nature can thrive within a house. The roof is removed, so even trees that are tolerant to shade environments like the amelanchier or the magnolia can grow there. It's also a preferred habitat for the western jackdaw or the bat. The left part of the existing building connects all kinds of functions: public, semi-private and private. The section also shows the different kinds of circulation over the terraces or the vertical stairs. Right next to each terrace is a shared room for the whole community. This is an axonometric drawing showing the terraces. They are all connected with stairs for the human. Right next to the stair is a little orchard, as well as a green ramp for all the other inhabitants of our house.